Hi everyone, I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and welcome to Countyline. Hi everyone, I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and welcome to Countyline, the program that features news and information about Allen County government. On this edition, we're going to tell you about a 10-year-old program that helps ex-offenders become productive members of society. It got its start as a pilot project thanks to Allen County government. In addition, 3 years after the formation of the Consolidated Communications Partnership, we're going to take a look at our 911 Dispatch Center, kind of tell you what's taken place in those past couple of years and what's ahead for the CCP. And we'll introduce you to our newest elected official in Allen County government. It's the first time he's held elected office, but he's a familiar face around the office. All of that coming up on Countyline. This is the headquarters of Blue Jacket Incorporated. It's a not-for-profit company that supports former criminal offenders by providing career training for them. We're going to talk about the program, how it operates, how it got started, and also about a new program that they're initiating this month. And joining us is Tony Hudson, who's Executive Director of Blue Jacket. Tony, thanks for spending some time with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming here.
Explain to us a little bit about how Blue Jacket got started and the role that Allen County government had in its formation.
Well, believe it or not, I was an employee of Allen County government back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and the Allen County Reentry Court started in 2001. And to help the people coming home from prison become very acclimated into our community, employment was one of the three biggest indicators for success. Okay. Housing and family were the two others. And of course, it was very difficult to partner with agencies to be able that already provide this in the community to serve people with criminal pasts that have been to prison. And so one of the greatest, more creative solutions was to create a nonprofit entity separate from government so it could self-fund through its enterprising efforts, which is what we'll talk about in a moment. And Judge Surback was one of the founding board members, and a number of entrepreneurs were as well.
So explain to us how the program works. A person who has gone through the court system, through the corrections system, then comes to you. Is that how it begins?
Correct.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people come to us also through as a walk-in or a self-referral.
Okay.
They hear about us word of mouth and they say, "Hey, I want to be a part of this
Sure.
program." And so we vet individuals for trust and honesty. And so trust and honesty, that matters a great deal to employers.
Sure.
It matters less what they've done in their past, but that they're doing something right now to regain their second chance, regain their seat at the table. Mm-hmm. So our program is a 60-hour program. It's 1 month in duration. It's called our Career Academy. That's our linchpin program.
Okay.
And so it vets people through self-motivation. They self-select out of the process. They say, "I don't want to show up dressed business professional on time assignments complete every day." Then they just drop out of the process. And when they do graduate, it makes it a lot easier for us to be able to say, "Hey, we've been with them for 60 hours. We see their work ethic. We've put them on community projects with other nonprofits and state churches, for example. There's a volunteer activity, and we gauge their employability. But they become one of the best job seekers out there, even though they have that criminal background." And so someone who is a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen, now that they're employed, is much more impactful to economic development than someone who is out there expected to rearrest or recidivate.
So is this a skills training type of environment for them?
We provide a soft skill training.
Okay.
So it's largely life skills and attitudinal skills, those type of things. But it's really less teaching, it's more doing. We don't talk about what's important to an employer, we expect it of them. Okay. And when they match it, then we say, hey, it's easier for them to be able to do it out there in the workforce.
As I understand, this program, while while it was initially designed for people who were coming through the criminal and judicial system, you're actually having other people wanting to become involved in the program.
You're right. There are other nonprofits around town that approached us about a year and a half ago, stating that they were interested in using our services. And for many years, our board and myself said, no, we don't want to drift away from our mission to serve ex-offenders. But when we applied for our IRS tax-exempt certification, we said, hey, and other hard-to-employ individuals, non-ex-offenders. And so we do partner with Canine, Lutheran Social Services, and Genesis House, and Vincent Village. And Vincent Village was really one of the bigger pushes. So we're serving veterans, homeless, people with learning disabilities, anyone who has difficulty getting back into the workforce, we serve them, because it's in that 60-hour training allows them the capacity to say, hey, look at my actions, not my words. I'm serious about wanting to work for your company.
Where do you get your funding from? I know that some of your clients have to bear some costs for the program. Tell us a little bit about that and other sources where you're getting your money from.
Thank you. Well, we've moved our model. We were largely federally funded for the last 3 years, and we shifted our model, and now it's largely earned income.
Okay.
About 75% of our funding is earned income. We have some local foundation grants and some individual donations through fundraising. Yes, we do charge people who come to our program $30, never anything more. There has to be a little skin in the game for individuals who come to our program. But we also charge those referring services as well. So from county government, from the nonprofits, we charge a fee for service there as well. So in our new thrift store, maybe we'll talk about that later, or whenever.
Well, we can talk about that right now. And if folks can kind of hear in the background work that's being done, they are in the process of putting together a thrift store here. Kind of explain to us a little bit about, there are racks of clothing behind us if you can't see everything back there, but tell us a little bit about what this clothing represents and what you're going to be doing with this thrift store.
Thank you. Sorry for all the noise. Okay. This is going to be called the Blue Jacket Clothing Company. Okay. And when we moved into this building almost exactly 1 year ago today, the Anthony Wayne Service Foundation was leasing this to us for $1, and they're soon to give it to us, donate the whole building. And so there's this 8,000 square foot warehouse that we were providing welding training and construction training and other trainings in here, and then things fell through the cracks and it was just sitting vacant for a number of months. Well, if you look at the glut of clothes that we had, we couldn't give to our students quick enough the donated clothes, business professional clothes, to be able to attend our training. So for the last 7 years that we've been in business, there have been people giving suits, ties, dresses, blouses, shoes, belts, so that people could attend our training. And we give those to our clients for free. Right. Now, we decided to, because we had 10,000 articles of clothing, to start selling it. And so March 22nd here at 2826 South Calhoun, we're launching the Blue Jacket Clothing Company. Now, it's open every day.
Right.
I'm sorry, from Tuesday to Saturday, from 10 to 5 every day, those business days. But it's going to provide 4 jobs for Blue Jacket graduates. In fact, it supplies enough funding for one person who is a Blue Jacket graduate. Her name's Jennifer, and maybe she's going to be meandering around here soon. But three transitional jobs, which are month-long, 30-day placements for people who want to get into customer service. Plus, the proceeds from the sales of these clothes help provide funding for our Career Academy.
So it goes right back into the program.
It does.
And these are gently used. I think that's probably the best.
They are.
That's the expression they use. Gently used clothes. So they're very nice.
Yes.
Even though they've been used before. And and you're going to start this again March the 24th?
March 22nd.
I'm sorry.
That's
March
right.
22nd. Okay, very good. Tony, how would you describe the success of the program? What do you use as the barometer for determining whether this program is meeting its goals?
Well, that we're in business right now. I mean, we've come through an ugly economy, and we're selling to employers, people with criminal convictions, and so that we're still in business, and that we have a success rate of an employment rate of 60% of the people who go through our Career Academy are employed within the first 3 months, and of those 60%, within 28 days. So that is a great success story for us, and there are many people out there that have been working for a number of years, now managers, now business owners, hiring our graduates as well. We have a recidivism rate, which is the definition of returning to prison, and to compare apples to apples, the only thing we can compare it to is prison. So the Department of Corrections has a 38% return to prison rate, which is our 18% is in comparison to them. So we decreased the return to prison by 20%.
Okay, well, that's good for you, obviously good for the community as well, good for the taxpayer, because reduce the recidivism, fewer people going through again,
yes,
less money that's having been had to spend on the correction system.
And the Allen County budget is largely criminal justice. I mean, that's
right.
less people going to the courts and the county sheriff and through the jails and through community corrections and probation. Yeah, it saves everyone.
Okay. Well, Tony, thanks so much for being with us to explain more about Blue Jacket, how it operates. And remember, the clothing store that they're going to have beginning March 22nd, and tell folks again where you're located so they know, because you used to be over in Clinton.
We used to be over in Clinton. We are now at 2826 South Calhoun. We're 1 block south of Creighton, where the Rialto sits in La Margarita, and we're on the west side of the road. It's a beautiful building.
Okay. Tony, again, thanks so much. Continued success and good luck for you and Blue Jacket, and hope folks take advantage of the clothing sale that you'll have going on here.
I hope so.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
3 years ago, the Allen County Board of Commissioners and the mayor of Fort Wayne decided to take their individual emergency dispatch centers and merge them into one unit. It's been 2 years since the Consolidated Communications Partnership was formed to handle that task and to bring it about to reality. And with us right now is Tim Lee, who heads up the CCP here in Fort Wayne and Allen County. We're going to talk to him a bit about what's transpired in these past couple of years as far as getting the units together, as well as what's coming up in the future for the CCP. Tim, first of all, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
Let's talk about the last couple of years. You came in from Ohio to run things there. It's the first time anything like this has been done here. Talk to us a little about the challenges and the things that you feel were major accomplishments that took place in these past 2 years.
You know, a couple things is, obviously when you come into a consolidation and you're bringing government entities together, you have diverse personalities. One thing we took upon ourselves is we've cross-trained employees to create a more diverse professional environment with our employees and a more professional way of handling calls. With that being said, we've reduced overtime while in the same spec, creating efficiencies. So we've got a smaller venue of basically operating of how we do things. Prime example is when I came in, there was 18 different ways of dispatching fire agencies. Now we have 2 ways of dispatching fire agencies, and because of that, we have streamlined, I guess you would call it out the door times, by 45 seconds. 45 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking getting a first responder out the door, that is huge. Another thing we looked at was we've really branched out with our ability to communicate with other counties, other communities, and with that being said, we are becoming more advantageous in setting our policies and protocols to help these smaller agencies. And in turn, in our meetings with these other counties, they've given us insight of how we can be more proficient. Technology is constantly changing. And you know, with today's society, different incidents, different things that put a bigger demand on this center. So we've also sent all of our supervisors to incident command training, so they're better suited to handle those type of incidents. When it comes to police, some of the policies were able to be merged. Some of those policies were not be able to merge just because of the diversity in the organizations. But what we could, we have, and because of that, it makes things more proficiently. As it sets today, and looking within the comm center, former county dispatchers are dispatching city, and city dispatchers are dispatching counties. So giving us the ability to expand and be more diversified, not today, but into the future as well.
And for folks who may not realize, tell us about the different agencies that are dispatched out of this center.
Okay, currently we dispatch everything from a public safety aspect as far as police, fire, and EMS, volunteer and full-time, including Allen County agencies in the city of Fort Wayne, but we also encompass, we page out road crews, parking control for the city, the dog warden, basically, animal control. So all agencies after hours, we handle their call volumes and we take over the dispatching responsibilities after hours.
Now some of the work
here is fairly routine.
Yes.
That's done, but you've also had some situations occur in the past couple of years where you folks have really been challenged. I can think of one last year, I believe it was late June, when we had the high windstorm that came through. You handled quite a high volume of calls during that period. Tell us a little bit about that situation.
Correct. June 29th, we had no pre-warning on the storm coming in.
Right.
Our general monthly call volume is around 7,000 calls for service. Over that period of time, 32 hours, we handled our monthly call volume of just over 7,000 calls. With that being said, I've got to give congratulations and thanks to the Fort Wayne Fire Department, because we were at our max capacity. We were actually using our admin lines to handle that call volume as well. But with the consolidation and the ability of cross-training, we didn't have to call in the additional personnel. We had the ability and cross-train people that we could reallocate to the needed resources where they needed to be.
Now, the call center has been down here in the basement of the Ed Rousseau Center for quite some time now, but you're getting ready to move out of the basement into another portion of the building. Tell us a little bit about where you're going to be and what's necessitating that move.
Well, you know, as technology changes, Next Generation 911 advocates the text to 911, the ability to stream video to 911, and the enhancements is coming with the next generation of our radio project. And the radio project creating the better ability for us to monitor troops in the field, with equipment being larger and a grander scheme, and the demand on the dispatch center, we need to consume more space. The existing structure doesn't allow us to do that. Moving upstairs gives us the ability to do that. It also provides the ability, if we wish to expand with a regionalized project or even bring other local entities in, to best utilize the resources of the facilities we are going to have in the near future.
So you'll be up on, I believe it's the 5th floor?
6th floor.
6th floor, I'm sorry. 6th floor here at the Rousseau Center. Tell us a little bit more about the new technology that's coming here to your dispatch center and what that's going to allow your folks to do.
With the Next Generation 911, one thing, you're seeing more school violence. You're seeing more violence into the communities. What it's going to allow us to do, the current system allows you to get latitude and longitude, X and Y coordinates. The new system within the next couple of years will give us the ability to X, Y, and Z coordinates. So we'll basically be able to plot someone latitude and longitude, height and volume for within roughly 10 feet. So if you're in an apartment complex in a specific room, it won't just tell us you're in an apartment complex. It'll narrow it down to that location. Also, with school violence, it gives the ability for someone to text or send a streaming video, keeping the dispatchers better updated, giving us a better idea of what response we need to send to that location.
So you'll be able to locate the individuals that you're trying to locate, whether it be a suspect or whether it's someone who is injured or ill. You'll be able to find them a lot quicker and know exactly where they are within, say, a large building.
Correct. And the other aspect of Next Generation 911, you'll be able to send streaming videos. So for a first responder, if there's an accident on 469 or 69 and there's a chemical spill, they can stream that video, and we may be able to get a placard or the identification and information to relay to the first responders so they can change their mechanism of response as well.
And of course, this isn't cheap, but it's something that's taking place across the country.
Correct. The FCC is in the process of providing a mandate. We're just being proactive. I think the deadline is looking to be 2015, but we have created a regional philosophy and the ability to work within a region and create redundancy and resilience in our network, we've elected to go ahead and propose this now, so as we make the transition to our new facility, we'll have all new equipment.
You handle a lot of 911 calls here, and let's talk about this for just a moment. The importance of the proper use of 911 by folks who might be watching. I know emergency, I guess that can be somewhat of a subjective term to folks. You know, what I think is emergency, someone may not think, but kind of explain to people what you're expecting them to call 911 for and what you don't want them calling that number for.
You know, the dispatch center handles roughly 3,250,000 calls a year. Out of those, 200,000 are roughly 911 calls, and last year we had roughly 19,000 abandoned or butt dial misuse 911 calls. So 911 is specifically for emergencies. If you have someone who's hurt, injured, imminent danger, then call 911. If you have a general purpose call, then you can call a desk line or the sheriff's office directly, and they'll be able to answer those questions. And we've really stepped up the platform to educate the community, put the education out into the schools, how to disable your phone so you're not inadvertently dialing 911. Part of the education is if you do inadvertently dial 911, stay on the phone so we can validate it. Because if you don't stay on the phone with us, we're sending a resource to make sure someone is truly all right and there's not truly an emergency. So if we can alleviate that and sending a first responder and emergency status to check your status, it just makes safety for everybody.
Well, Tim, sounds like you've had an exciting past couple of years just getting things up and going here, and it sounds like a lot more interesting times to come in the years ahead. Thanks for talking with us today about the work that's being done here by the CCP and what's ahead in the future. Looking forward to it.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Well, for the first time in 12 years, Allen County has a new coroner. Term limitations prevented Dr. John Brandenberger from seeking re-election after he served 2 elected terms. But the person that we have in office now is not a stranger to the coroner's office. So let us introduce to you, if you're not familiar with him, Dr. Craig Nelson, who was elected back in November as Allen County coroner and just began his term of duty on January 1st. And Dr. Nelson, first of all, thanks for joining us and taking some time to talk.
Not a problem. Glad to be here.
For folks who may not be familiar with you, as we said, you have been in the coroner's office for a little while now. Tell us a little bit about the work you were doing prior to becoming coroner.
Well, I was a deputy coroner here. Dr. Brandenberger asked me if I would be interested in becoming a deputy. And the reason I got started in this is that a patient of mine had been found and decomposed body, and I was asked to see if I could do the identification since Dr. O'Shaughnessy had passed away and there wasn't anybody else around in the area to do that. So that's how I got started and became very interested in the forensic part of identifications.
Now, you are a dentist, not technically a physician, but you are a dentist.
That's correct.
So you've had some specific training relative to the dental profession that helps you as coroner. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, medical background, you know, in a dental school, a lot of our classes are exactly the same ones that the physicians or the dental or medical students take.
Sure.
So our background as far as education in the dental school versus medical school are very similar.
But you do have some specific, there's some specific training as far as being able to examine dental work that helps you in terms of identification. Would that be true?
Yes, that was after I did my first identification. I became interested in becoming more competent in that particular field. American Academy of Forensic Science is one of the places where I do get some training, and Armed Forces Institute of Pathology was a whole week course that basically is the one that is requested for people to take if they want to do this sort of thing. So, plus many other courses that I've taken over through the years.
So it's not particularly unusual for a person in the dental field to be able to use that experience in the work of a medical examiner or a coroner?
Basically, you know, if you get the proper training and you're qualified to do so, besides doing the identifications of deceased individuals, we're also trained to interpret bite marks, human bite marks, animal bite marks.
Okay. For folks who may not be familiar, they know the coroner's office is always involved in suspicious death investigations. They work with police and prosecutors. But what are some of the things that the coroner's office is involved in that maybe people aren't that familiar with?
Well, we get a lot of calls from the hospitals when somebody has died in a hospital, and lots of times they are natural deaths, and we're questioned as to whether this should be a coroner's case or not. If it's unquestionably a medical problem and we can get a physician to sign a death certificate, obviously we're not going to take this as a coroner's case. Anything that's an unexpected death, an accident, a homicide, suicide, these are automatically coroner's cases, and we then investigate them along with the help from the law enforcement.
Unexpected or unexplained.
That's correct.
At the time, you may not. It may be somewhat mysterious, or not necessarily suspicious, but mysterious.
Something that you just can't explain. You know, why did this particular person die? Along with law enforcement, We will investigate it. If we decide that we need an autopsy, then we also have our pathologist who will help us with a determination of the cause of death.
Can a private citizen ask for your assistance in determining cause of death if they feel that there was either a misdiagnosis or they're just not sure that the initial determination was accurate?
Assuming that you're saying that this is not a coroner's case initially, yes. If a private citizen has a problem with a particular interpretation of death, they can certainly come in and ask us for some help, and we'd be glad to review the case for them. Okay,
so you will review the case if they ask. There's no other particular situation that has to exist for you to get in.
I see no reason why we couldn't, give an opinion.
And then your work is done primarily when you're doing autopsies and examining the bodies. That's not done here in this office here in the Rousseau Center where your main office is located. Where do you do most of your work?
Northeast Indiana Forensic Center, which is located at St. Joe Hospital, is where the coroner's office has its autopsies done.
Okay. And you also work, obviously, very closely with law enforcement, police, sheriff, as well as the prosecutor's office.
That's correct.
People have probably watched a number of the television shows. You think of CSI, or you think of Bones, or even Quincy. That ages me a little bit, but you think of some of those TV programs they've watched that focuses on the medical examiner's role. And you always wonder just how accurate are those shows portraying things. From your standpoint, does the public really understand what you folks do?
Well, we got more than an hour to prove upon.
Right.
But a lot of the basic stuff that's on these shows, has some validity. But again, they're trying to do a lot of things. CSI, he might do some investigation that really we would turn over to maybe law enforcement or somebody else, and maybe even pathologists. So a lot of that stuff has some basic, yes, it works,
right.
But again, no, it does not work.
In other words, you don't necessarily go out on the field with the detectives and help in doing the interrogation work or anything like that. Your focus is mainly on the body itself. That's really all you're worried about.
Yes, that's our responsibility to take care of the body, and any investigation along with the police officers, interviews of individuals done by detectives. If we have questions, obviously we could pose those questions up too. But most of the investigation as far as surrounding the body is done by the police officers.
Right. But obviously whatever you can determine from your investigation can be a big help to them as far as directing them in the right way to focus their investigation, let's put it that way.
Yeah, we could lead them if something is not obvious to them. Yeah, we could make a suggestion, or they can make suggestions to us too. Mm-hmm.
So you really are working closely in tandem. You have a certain amount of expertise, and obviously they have the expertise, and they're working on, and melding those together is what will help either solve a crime or at least solve a mystery.
Myself, with being a dental background, most of our deputies have law enforcement backgrounds, and that's very helpful for our deputies. Matter of fact, I'm going to say there might just be 2 or 3 of them who do not have law enforcement backgrounds. So as far as our investigation, yes, with that help, that's very helpful for our deputies.
Almost like a little bit of cross-training, a mixture of knowledge of how each side works.
Yeah.
Some other things I know that this office has been involved in the past, away from actually investigating crime or mysterious death investigations. I know your predecessors were heavily involved in teen drinking and driving and things like that. So you're also working out in a public service role as well as the actual investigatory work you do.
Dr. Brandenberger was very involved with the Drive Alive campaign, and of course we will continue to work with that too.
Okay.
And now that we have the new problem with overdose of drugs, misuse of drugs, we're going to be involved with that sort of thing too.
Prescription drugs.
That's correct.
Right. Yeah, that is a big concern to a lot of folks. I know Dr. McMahon, our health commissioner, and as well as the Attorney General Zeller has made that a top priority for them, and so you'll be involved in that as well, you say.
We will be having as much involvement as they want us to be,
Sure.
that's for
well,
sure.
I'm sure a lot. Dr. Nelson, thanks a lot for spending a little time with us. We appreciate it, and kind of explaining to folks out there a little more about what the coroner's office does, how it works, and how you're involved in the safety and well-being of our community. Thanks again. Good luck to you in the next 4 years.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
And that's it for this edition of County Line. Remember, you can see all of our previous versions of County Line on our Allen County Info channel on YouTube. And we also put these programs on our video on demand service, which we share with Fort Wayne City Government as well as the Allen County Public Library. Along with watching County Line on video on demand, you can also see meetings of the Allen County Commissioners, Allen County Council, the Fort Wayne Allen County Board of Health, and the Allen County Planning Commission. To find either our YouTube channel or video on demand service, just go to our website, www.allencounty.us, and you'll find links to both of those services. I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time on County Line.